When it comes to the lineup tomorrow, is Jet playing tomorrow? Are you able to
We still got to go over rosters.
Is he? I know you don't want to put any undue pressure on him, but do you really need to see something from him? I know there's probably saw some progression last game. Does he really need to pop over these last couple games to have a chance to make this roster?
I mean, I think that's a fair statement. I mean, I really actually thought he really, like last game, he utilized his speed really well. Obviously he's an intelligent kid. He's 19 years old, right? Whether he's on our team or not, we'll see. But there's a lot to like about him. I think there's more offense to his game. I think he's two passes too much. That's just my early observation that I think we have to unlock that, because in practice, there's 3 times he was flying and he ripped a puck, and I think I looked at Yogi and I go, wow, like he's got that kind of wow. So we got to get him to continue to do that.
You're watching the 4-on-3 power play at the end of the last game. It seemed like he had some opportunities to rip it, but he just didn't. Are you is that maybe one instance where he could have done that?
Well, I think if you have, obviously he's obviously good without the puck, and there's the attributes of being a 200-foot player that he has, right? For a 19-year-old, have those. He's ahead of schedule, but it's the offensive part. Even like there's a backdoor play. If he gets a little bit lower, he does the Crosby. It's in the net. I think those are the little things that if he can pick up, he can add offense to his game. Like I said, he's 19 years old. We're asking for a lot from him, but in the meantime, the speed he has and his brain, he's got those gifts.
What's the Crosby?
I'm sorry?
What's the Crosby?
Well, you go back there, you just get lower and you make sure, you just yeah. Google it. Yeah. I shouldn't have used it. Boosh knows.
I'll talk to you later.
Rick, with Nikita Gurbankin, you've talked a little bit about him as a player, but as a person, he seems like he's a fun kid, has some personality to him. Have you got a chance to get to know him just as a guy away from the ice?
Yeah, it's funny. When he's obviously, I'm the head coach, he's a little shy right now in the Russian and stuff, but he grabbed me today, and I told him I need that feedback from him. But he's a sticky player. Like, he comes up with loose pucks in the corner, and I remember talking to Chief this summer. He told me this kid Hashmark Down is a really good hockey player. So, and he's put some good games for us together, and I think he has some offensive capability. Now, there's game management we got to talk about. There's time and place to make a play, but for overall, I've been pleased with him.
Rick, you guys have obviously been doing a lot of work on the power play this week. My understanding with how that's set up from a coaching standpoint is that it's Yogi, but also Jay as well working on that. Can you explain kind of how the distribution of coaching is going to work with having 2 coaches essentially running the power play?
Yeah, well, I think it's important. Yesterday, so Jay took one of the units and Yogi had the other. They collaborate. Jay came from Detroit. Him and Tanguy were and Detroit had a good power play. Yogi, when I had him in Vancouver, I had the Twins. So I'm a big collaborative guy with power play. Obviously, you need a guy to kind of put video together. So I don't believe it has to be one, he's the guy and leave him alone. I think it's a collaborative. And we've only been 2-3 weeks, but I like the way it's going. And I think the guys are picking up. We got this a long process to get what we want, but I thought, I don't know, we got 3 or 4 power play goals so far in training camp. the exhibition. We're getting some good looks, but we still there's some things that we got to go through, and those guys are really good at teaching it.
Speaking to Jay specifically, he has a background in analytics and being able to kind of translate. What do you like about what makes him good at that, at taking the numbers and then putting it in a way that makes it easy for you and the players to understand?
Yeah, I think that's what one of his gifts is. He can sort through the stuff. He knows me pretty well, so he gives me the real stuff, right? And you can get lost in numbers, and trust me, I get confused. But he somehow, even for power play, the goals last year. It's simple to get, but he breaks it down. Which teams are the best at these areas of scoring, and that was one of the weaknesses of the Flyers. There wasn't a lot of stuff in the grade A areas. Everything was outside, and we got it. So we gave the players that information, and hopefully that'll make guys understand if they want to score. There's certain areas they got to go to. That's where Jay's good at, and he'll put that video to that analytics. yeah, you can have all these numbers, but you leave the rink, what does that mean? But if you have the numbers, then you show video to back it up. I think that's today's player, and the players want that.
If you keep Zegras and Michkov together as one of your forward duos, obviously you've taken a look at a bunch of different guys.
Sure.
There's a third guy in that line. What qualities, I guess, would be ideal for those guys, because they're obviously both skilled and creative offensive players?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, the other guy has to be a responsible guy. I mean, listen, I don't want to take the stick out of those guys' hands. I want them, they're creative guys. I mean, it's fun to watch them, but you can't have three guys below the goal line, and you can't give odd man right. It's not winning hockey. I don't care what anybody says. So it's my job to make them a little more responsible. I mean, I don't want them to, like I said before, I'm not going to turn them into sulky winners, but they have to have a little bit of a conscience, time, score, things like that. And they're young guys. And so actually I thought Tippett was, I'm going to try him, but I thought he had a really good practice today. And I think he's a guy that with our staff, we can really work with him. But they all have to participate. It can't just be Tip being third man high all the time. It's going to be a work in progress, and it's something that there's going to be a lot of responsibility on us coaches to teach them that. And I want to give them that. I want to give them that chance, though.
The narrative about Zegras was that while he was playing on the wing the last couple seasons, he did pick up some of the defensive aspects that maybe weren't there earlier in his career. When you watch, I'm sure you watched tape of him last year. Did you see a guy that is defensively responsible enough, and are you encouraged? Are you hopeful that he will be defensively aware enough if he does play with Michkov?
I saw him constantly try effort to be in the right spots. I did see that last year. I think the coach there, helped him. There, and there's obviously more. There's difference. Maybe a bit of a different system as him. If he's a center. When to release, when not to release, when do I box out, when I don't box out, you really know when your team's got it is when you're tired and the puck's, all over the place, and you watch your team. The good teams just hold, right? They don't panic, they give the outside, and we just got to we're not there yet. I mean, it's been 2-3 weeks. It's going to take months, I think, for us to really realize, where everybody has to go. And I think a guy like Trevor, he's already picked up a couple of things there. But, like I said, it's poor guy, he doesn't know the system, and I'm putting him at center. He hasn't played center in a while, so we got to be a little bit patient with him.
Rick, speaking to Rodrigo Alves. Now, I'm not saying he's had a perfect camp, but he's been impressive. He's played in all the games. He's scored points and whatnot. And the guys on the ice, the guys in the team, they see that. That said, it could be a numbers game where, if you guys keep 8 defensemen, if you keep Jet, he may have to go back. As a coach, do you worry at all that, the guys saw him play so well? Does that play into your thinking of, sending a guy back, even though it seems like he's earned a job when you make the decisions to guys?
I don't think of that way. I think it's my job. He's got to pay. This is the way I honestly think. He's got to pay the mortgage, right? He wants to be an NHL player. It's my job to give him feedback how to him to be an NHL player. I think for him, he's 6'4", pretty good skater. He's got a hell of a shot. You guys saw the other night, and there's some things there. But I think there's more there for him to be an NHL player. I don't think, he's got the job. If you said he's an NHL player right now, he's trending to that. And we had a talk today about that. I like his frame. I like his thinking. To me, right now, the consistency. Can he put together games of consistency? Because I told Danny the other day, he goes, I like this guy. Let's keep him around for it and see. Let's see, right? Whether he plays tomorrow or not, I don't know. But there is something there, and now he's got to find it, right? When you're on a bubble, you got to do something. You got to do it consistently every day. That's the rules of the NHL. So you got to see it from him every day, and. It's almost like he's got to play on. He's got to be uncomfortable when he plays. It's my job to make him comfortable, knowing the system and helping him out. But he's got to have that uncomfortable feeling. Like, if I want to make the NHL, it's going to be hard every day. That's just the way it is. So, can we get him to there? I don't know, but I do like his camp so far. He's done a nice job.
Last one. With Owen Tippett, just curious.
Yeah.
If you have him be more of a defensive. Maybe the defensive mind on that line. He's someone who could fly up the ice.
Yeah.
Do you worry about that balance for him?
Yeah, I should have rewrote. I should have said that before. I don't want him to he's got to be, play like he's got to be F3. He's got to play fly. He's got to do his thing and play mind free. And I got to get the other guys to, to understand when it's, whose turn it's got to be. That's what I really mean. And that's being a connected line. I know that you look at the Cates, Brink, and that's a, I don't know. I mean, I'm just getting intel from guys last year, even watching them, that line last year. It was a good line. And then last game, they're connected, right? They might get a little, and they might go, but you'll see another guy, that's my job to go over here. We got to get that mind frame to the other guys that you got to be somewhat responsible. That's all. And I don't want Tip to be that guy where he's got to stay back. And no way. I mean, if I do that, I mean, I'm putting shackles on the kid because, some of the stuff that he does out there is pretty special. So we just got to get him to understand when to go and when not to go. I guess the line, not just him, yeah.
For sure. I just have one question from Toronto about Dakota Joshua.
Yeah.
He's been gushing about your support when he was going through his cancer battles. Just, I guess, how was that for you? What kind of support did you provide for him? And just, I guess, how are you, to see him kind of continuing his career now?
Yeah, no, I think when I got, for him, I think he was 28, and was bouncing around, and actually Chief really helped him in St. Louis, and it's actually a good fit for him, but he really had a good year when I was there, and then he had the cancer, and he had a hip problem. I mean, the poor guy it just hit him after adversity. So I think he's going to have a really good impact for the Leafs. He's a prototypical big, smart. He plays penalty kill. You can put him on the power play. He's tough. They're hard to find. He can skate pretty well. So I think that's a great fit for him being with Chief. So, yeah, they're hard to find those type of guys.
Sorry, can I just do one follow-up?
Sure.
Just about your relationship, though. How did you work? He says that you helped support him throughout it.
Well, we talked a lot. I mean, it was just about hockey. I mean, there's other stuff that's that's personal stuff that you got to be there as a coach too. It's just not you got to play well, and you got to do this, you got to do that. There's got to be, and we've had a lot of good talks about that, and I think it's important that you have that feedback or help him out because it's not about hockey. Sometimes there's life too. So he's a guy that went through a lot.
Rick Luchenko played a couple of games last year.
Sure.
He said that the experience was helpful this year, that he didn't come in as sort of this wide-eyed, kid. Can you sense that out there, that he kind of knows a little bit more about what's going on?
I saw that last game. I think he knew, I don't think he liked his last two games, the 2 games prior. And I just saw Boston, he took control a little bit more of even of his line. You can tell he's got leadership qualities, right? He's a shy, he's a quiet kid, but for 19 years old, I mean, that's the thing. It's not like he's a 23-year-old. He's 19 years old. So I think we just got to be patient, whatever we do with him, and give him a little bit of the time. But yeah, no, I see that last game he took more of a, hey, I know I'm a good player. I want the puck, or I want to be out in those situations like the 4-on-3. I mean, he probably hadn't played 4-on-3 since junior. So I think those are the leadership things you're looking for.